I bet this guy can help me. His Fiverr profile says, trust me, bro.
That's right, motherfucker. You can trust me, bro. Come on, bro.
I had to do 6 custom proposals this week and I need someone who can help me with the work.
No problem, no problem.
Well, the client wants Facebook ads, a logo, a new website, and they also want me to babysit their little cousin.
By the great eye of Vishnu, you must pay me.
All right. Here's your money.
Okay then, peace out, bitch.
These intros are getting like just pure shenanigans. Anyways, what's up guys? Frankie here. I want to show you guys why being a specialist for you is going to be 1,000 times better, easier, faster than being a generalist. You'll make more money, you'll do it quicker, it's easier to do, and it scales better. So I'm giving you all the reasons why. And by the way, as a practical real world experience of all the people I know who are crushing it, like really have successful agencies, for every one generalist I know doing really, really well, I know 20 or more specialists crushing it. I'm not saying you can't make it as a generalist, but you sure make your life a lot harder than it needs to be because you're constantly reinventing the wheel and doing custom client work. For those of you guys who don't know me already, my name's Frankie Finn. I wrote these 2 best-selling books, Passive Automated Recurring Income, Beyond the Agency Box. You can find a link for that below this video. I built 3 of my own agencies up to 100 plus clients, and I've helped thousands of people out there to live this more beach, less laptop lifestyle. Let's get into the good stuff. All right, so we're going to compare these things in 6 different things because I want you to actually evaluate what you're doing personally and ask yourself, which one of these things is true for me? I'm going to show you these 6 different things here. Let's see if we can make a little chart. And over here, we're going to put the old G for generalist. Actually, since I wrote the title, specialist is first, then write G for generalist. And let's start with the act of fishing for clients, right? Like you got to do something to put yourself out there to go and get clients. They don't just, magically fucking fall out of the sky. When you are a specialist, you have a very clear picture of who to go get as a client because, for example, if you said to me, I want to meet nurses, where should we go meet nurses? Well, let's probably go to the hospital. If you said, I want to meet golfers, we can go to the golf course, right? If you said, I want to meet strippers, I ain't judging you, we're going to go to the strip club, right? So fishing becomes very clear where we should go to get people, and we go wherever the fuck they are already. The flip side of that is being a generalist, you're not really sure where you're supposed to do, and you go, where do I get clients? And I see this all the time where people go, where should I get clients? How do I find people who are willing to pay me for Google ads? How do I find people who are willing to pay me for websites? And you just end up in this confused space because you have such a vague, abstract target, you don't even really know where to aim. And over here, this is how happy you are.
When it comes to 4-month-old Danye, Andrew, you are not the father.
Bring it back now. Bring it back now.
Can you imagine getting that happy from just finding out you're not the father? She-ho, Maury. I grew up on trashy TV, by the way. She-ho, Maury. He ain't even look like me, Maury. He ain't even look like me. So let's talk about the thing that probably most of you guys care about the most, which is the cash. And I'm here to tell you, a generalist on average makes about 4 times as much as one time for a generalist. So as a generalist, you got to get 4 times as much clients to get the same thing. So when I was first a generalist and I was just selling, say, websites, for the sake of selling websites, by the way, we're writing on a nice little angle here, whatever. It's good information, just a little wobbly. What happens here is that clients pay you a lot less money for the same thing. So I used to struggle as a generalist to sell websites for $500 or $1,000. And then I would go into the plastic surgery space, which is a clear niche as a specialist. And I found out you can sell $40,000 websites and above. In fact, it wasn't uncommon to sell a local business a $100,000 website. And over here, that same person would struggle to give me $500 or $1,000 because over here they believed they were going to get a better result. They were going to get a better website that was more likely to actually work. So they were more willing to take out their credit card. And over here, it's so difficult, it almost feels like dealing with Lumberg.
Just Yeah, you apparently didn't put one of the new cover sheets on your TPS. You see, we're putting the cover sheets on all TPS reports.
All right, so let's talk about the next piece of the puzzle is you're trying to actually go out there in the world and sell your stuff. When you're a specialist, by the way, I'm not saying sales in our market are ever easy, but they are certainly easier. And the reason is because you have a clear message and a clear value proposition. And the reason is because it's for someone. So when I was selling a plastic surgery website, I could say, yeah, I can help you get mommy makeover patients through this website. And they would go, okay, here's my credit card. Over here, I would have to talk about the deliverable, which made it really, really hard, right? So I would say things like, well, it's optimized, it's mobile optimized, it's WordPress friendly, it's gonna load fast, it's gonna look great, it's gonna be amazing. And they would say, yeah, but does it actually fucking work to bring me the thing that I want? And I couldn't always tell them, right? I didn't even know what they wanted most of the time. So when you're dealing with that, what you find is clients kind of look at you a little bit like this.
You're gonna beat me? At golf? Oh, you're on. You're in big trouble, though, pal. I eat pieces of shit like you for breakfast.
You eat pieces of shit for breakfast?
No.
So you actually make your sales job a whole lot easier if you actually aim it at someone specific, because then we can talk about the result, the specific result that person is after, and we don't have to relearn it from market to market. Let's talk a little bit about what you're doing. What are you actually doing in a day-to-day, hour-to-hour experience? And one of the things about specialists is your actual deliverable, your fulfillment is, again, it is way more leveraged. And I'll tell you why. If you think about McDonald's, when McDonald's first started, not what they are today with the like McRib and the Shamrock Shakes and all those monstrosities, in the beginning, all they sold were hamburgers. They didn't even offer fries, they didn't even have Coke. In the beginning, it was just a quick burger, and then they eventually added fries and a Coke. But when they scaled, it was like a one-product business, right? And so it was a lot of work to come up with a hamburger system, of course, but they got to reuse that hamburger system, right? Like every time a new client came in, they didn't reinvent a burger system. They, in fact, gave the same burger system again and again and again. Over here, what you're doing is you're reinventing the wheel over and over and over. And that's a little bit of the joke, by the way, that I tied into at the beginning of this video, because often for me, what that meant is I was looking for like superstar, heroic kind of freelancers. Is like, man, if I could just find somebody cheap and good who can take this off my plate. And every time I got a new client, I'd have to go looking for a new freelancer on Fiverr, on Upwork, in a Facebook group, a virtual assistant. I'd be trying to chase somebody who knew how to do the thing so I didn't have to figure it out. So like, looking for web designers and things like that. And often you still have to play quality control. You still got to interface with the client. You still got to answer questions. Over here, the burger was kind of done before the client even started. Ergo, it was so much easier just to stick it into the client's business. Also, over here, not only are you reinventing the wheel, but often a client actually has no idea what they even want or what they're really after. So like I used to make websites and they would look at you like this.
That is one big pile of shit.
It used to actually crack me up that often you would give clients exactly what they asked for, and because they were so vague and unspecific and unclear about what they wanted, they would tell you it's shit, and you literally are just giving them their own idea back to them. I wanted something good, not that shit. Like I actually can remember I had a client once where, when I was a generalist, where they gave me the website copy, I copied and pasted it word for word, and they said, you got typos and spelling mistakes, you idiot. And it was like, that's your text, moron. So those are one of the reasons, right? Over here, it's more leverage. And not only that, clients throughout this process see you as more of an expert, which means they trust in you in the process. And they trust in you a lot less when you're the reinvent the wheel kind of person. And it also takes longer to get people results. So let's talk about the old reputation. What do other people think of you when you are a specialist? And not always 10 times out of 10, but more often than not, they think you're a pro who has some super secret specialized knowledge. And over here, they look at you as what I would call the old dime a dozen. right? That's supposed to be a 12. They look at you as like, hey, I could just get this shit anywhere. Like you sell websites, and over here they're just thinking, I'll just go with the cheapest person, right? If they got 3 people saying, I'll build you a website, and they can't tell the difference between them, or they got 3 people quoting SEO, they're like, I'll just go with the cheapest one, right? Like it seems all the same to me. Over here, it's like, no, this guy really, really knows how to rank websites for plastic surgeons, or this guy over here really, really knows how to run Facebook ads for home services. Or this guy over here, he really knows how to do Google ads for plumbers better than anyone else I know, right? So your reputation is that you're actually a pro and you know what you're doing. And over here, you're a dime a dozen. Again, so they trust you more. And it also makes it easier to deliver a quick result for a client because you get to reuse the same shit you just came up with from the last client. So let's talk about the last piece here, which is the identity. Is kind of a little bit about how you see yourself. And this is sometimes the hardest piece to change is not the external representations of it, but like, who do you think you are in this marketing business game? And when you are a specialist, you see yourself as an expert, right? Like if you think about like other experts, you can't just go to the doctor and say, hey doctor, can I give you $500 and you fix my elbow? The doctor's going to go, well, hold on, let me find out what's actually going on and see if it's even something I can help. And I'll decide whether or not you'll be a client. In the expert space, you're the chooser. Over here, we're often just thinking about getting hired, like almost like a middle class person thinks about, like, I hope I get the job. I hope I get the job today. And over here, you're way more selective. You're looking for somebody who's a good fit, right? Like if I sell mommy makeover websites to plastic surgeons, I want to make sure that it's a plastic surgeon looking for mommy makeover patients that's going to be able to use what I'm looking for. And so what ends up happening when you combine all of these things, by the way, and you're a specialist, it's clear where you go fishing, you get paid more money, your sales are easier, your fulfillment is far more leveraged. In fact, it's harder over here to have 5 clients than have 50 over here. You get the reputation over time as you're a total pro, and you see yourself as an expert, which is, by the way, a lot about what we talk about inside the Wolfpack Mastermind. Over here as the generalist, you're wondering, where do I fish for clients? And when they do happen to bump into each other or somebody recommends you or whatever, you get paid just a little bit of money to do some stuff, and you often have to deliver a lot of activity, and therefore the sale's a lot harder. And then when you actually get the client, you're then standing there trying to reinvent the wheel for a client who sees you as a dime a dozen, easily replaceable, and will often, in many forms, let you know that. And you're looking at it like, I hope I get hired today. And by the way, over here, you're far more proactive about quote unquote getting hired, right? Like you're doing intentional things. Like for example, I may send a package to a client in the mail. If they're on the fence, I will not sit around waiting for them to get hired. I may send them some testimonials. I may send them some case studies if I got them. If not, I may send them some content or an article I've written or a podcast they can listen to, etc. Right? Like I'm not sitting around waiting for them to make a decision to see whether today or not is the day I get hired. So I wanted to put this together for you guys because a lot of people come to me, and I've helped many people over the years. You know, I gave a little shout out to our Wolfpack Mastermind, which is for agency owners. But I've had a lot of people come to me as a generalist, and their life is a total clusterfuck, and they don't realize it, but they have a hard time getting clients. Everything's harder. They're constantly reinventing the wheel. They're seen as a dime a dozen, and they're in their mind just trying to get hired, and help them come up with something clear where they make more money off it. It's easier to sell. It's more leverage to fulfill on. People see them as a pro, and ultimately they see themselves as an expert in the thing they actually do, not as a dime a dozen person. And when you do that, by the way, almost always the income level for the same exact work without adding more clients is 4x, right? Like for example, I mentioned it was hard for me to sell a website for $500 to $1,000 as a generalist. The minute we stopped being a generalist, we got paid $5K for a website, right? Like if a website gets paid $5K versus $500, that's 10 less websites or 9 less websites I don't need to make for the same exact paycheck. And so my life gets easier. And by the way, was it any harder to make the specialized mommy makeover website than the whatever you need over here, Mr. Boss kind of thing? No, it was the same amount of work. It wasn't any more work, but it just paid me 10 times as much as an expert. So if you guys are interested in potentially doing more with that, I would encourage you guys to reach out, because I've helped many people over the years to figure out. And what we're really saying is choose a niche, intend a specific type of client so that you can create a repeatable deliverable and you know where to go fishing, and you can create a clear offer and messaging. And in doing so, you'll make a much more scalable agency that'll make you a bunch of money. As I stated in the beginning, yes, you can be successful as a generalist. For every person I know who's got a 7-figure agency doing $1 million a year or more as a generalist, I know about 20 over here. So you can be successful as a generalist. Don't let me tell you it can't be done. It's just a lot harder. And do you want to take the path where you got a 5% chance of success, or the one where you got the 20 times the chance of success, the old 100% chance of success? So that's all I got for you guys in this video. If you're not already subscribed, make sure to subscribe, just for the golden dad guns and the corny jokes. And that's all I got for you guys in this video. As I said, may the force be with you. Buy my book, or I will show up in your dreams and read all of the terms and conditions for all that software you signed up in a quiet